Hello and Happy New Year to everyone. I'm here with my sister, Ellie Holly. And Ellie's a herbalist. And one of my presents this year was a detox, 2-week detox herbal mix, which Ellie has given to me to clean. Well, we're going to talk about whether or not it's going to clean out my liver or how a detox works. But I thought it'd be a fun thing to talk about and share some content on social media this new year. So what's in the detox? Why might people want to detox? Tell us about it, Ellie.
Well, I think the first thing to say is that your body is always detoxing every day, 24 hours a day. So it's not like you suddenly turn on your detoxification systems and turn them off again. So you've got your liver working all day and all night, and you've got your kidneys working as well, and then your skin is an eliminatory organ, and so is your bowel. When you take a herbal detox, what you're doing is you're supporting those different organs of the body. So you're getting your liver working more efficiently, getting your kidneys working better, hopefully clearing more through your digestive system so that less actually comes out through your skin. So it's about improving efficiency more than anything else.
Cool, that sounds really. And in alongside taking a herbal mix, what else would you be normally recommending to somebody if they came to you and wanted some advice on doing a detox, which is something we're all thinking about, tends to be after the gluttony of Christmas and New Year's celebrations, albeit slightly dampened this year with COVID?
Absolutely. I think the new year is a brilliant time to reset and, to use a cliched phrase, create a new normal and get off to a good start. I mean, it's absolutely pointless doing any kind of detox tablets or tinctures unless you're going to complement it with a clean eating diet that's going to support your body. So obvious things first, drinking plenty of water. Personally, I find it really, really hard to drink water in the cold weather. And what I find is I get some organic or some unwaxed lemons and put a slice of lemon in and actually just put that glass of water in front of me, and then I will drink it. But if I don't pour the glass of water, it's just not going to happen. And then cutting back on sugar as much as you possibly can. Sugar's massively addictive, so the more you have, the more you're going to want, and the easiest way to do it is to get all of the sugary foods out of your house. And if you have to have something sweet, just buy that one small portion, eat it, and hopefully there's no more there. And then lots of don't be afraid of fruit. Fruit's had a lot of bad press in the last couple of years. People saying, oh, fruit's really sugary, fruit this, fruit that. It's a load of nonsense. I did a huge body of research on different diets last summer, and the overwhelming evidence from the research is people that eat more fruit lose more weight. Because even though fruit contains some sugar, fruit is very high in fibre and it's very high in water, and it fills you up and it displaces other food. Obviously, fruit's really high in vitamin C as well, which we need not just for detoxification, but for collagen, skin repair, preventing wrinkles, scars. That's your field, Emma. And yeah, lots and lots of veggies and cutting out processed foods more than anything else.
Yeah, because I think when a lot of people, they sign up for diets and things like that, which is something else that goes on a lot as we come into the new year, people very often go for things which are calorie counting, and therefore there's often a choice between maybe having a banana, which is normally around about 100 calories, or something like a chocolate bar that's designed for a Weight Watch program. And I think that it's really important to understand that, particularly if you're reducing your nutrients, many of us aren't thinking about, well, what's that actually putting in, and how that not only affects your mood, but maybe your body and things like that. And I always find, like you say, sometimes when you start down that kind of path of following a certain prescriptive diet, it can actually take you to a worse place, can't it, with the kind of advice that you're getting?
Absolutely, it is a complete false economy. When you're losing weight, you're actually in quite a toxic state because your body stores all your toxins in your fat cells. So when you lose weight, you're not just doing your normal day-to-day detoxification, but you've got to process those extra toxins that are coming out of the fat cells that hopefully you're breaking down because you're burning off those calories. And when you take in these low-calorie chocolate bars or cereal bars or diet foods that are highly processed, they've often got a considerable amount of vegetable oil in them, which is a very, very pro-inflammatory, high in free radicals. It's basically a toxic food processed vegetable oils are one of the things that we should be going out of our way to avoid. And then even if they're low in sugar, they've normally got a lot of artificial sweeteners in them, and they're not going to be providing any vitamins and minerals. There's going to be no fibre in there. So they really are what I would class as an anti-nutrient. I would say reach for that. Don't count calories. Go for whole foods. And what I would say to people, if they're trying to lose weight, or even if they're not trying to lose weight, even if you're trying to do something like get your digestive system working better, is to leave 4 hours between each meal or snack. So when you have breakfast or when you have lunch, try not to eat for another 4 hours. If that's too difficult, go for 3 hours. Yeah, if you can't go for 3 hours, you did not eat enough food at your last meal. So it's not that you're a weak person or there's something wrong with you. It's that you need to look at your meals and make them a bit more filling, because you should definitely be able to go for 3 hours. And if you can go for 4, that's perfect. Because then you get these things called migrating motor complexes moving through the gut. And what they do is they pick up all the bits of food and the debris and the bad bacteria that's been left behind, and they sweep through and it cleans your gut out. And that won't happen if you don't leave a long enough gap in between meals. And also, it's much, much easier to lose weight and to get your eating on track if your eating is not disorganized and chaotic. You want it to be, you know, you have a meal and you wait 3 or 4 hours and then you have another meal, and so on.
And with so many people kind of being stuck at home at the minute because of the situation with COVID, in a way, this could be quite a good time to kind of reset those patterns. On the one hand, you've got the problem of the fact that the fridge is right next to you and that perhaps it's going to be really easy to keep walking in the kitchen and grabbing some food. But at the same time, you are there, you could perhaps have those options to produce a better meal. And like you say, one proper meal, then let that process through, and hopefully if you're not feeling hungry, you're going to be feeling you're going to be able to sustain that if you've eaten well in that meal.
Yeah, definitely. And also recognizing, is hunger coming from the mouth or the stomach? Because if you're feeling hungry, you will feel it in the pit of your stomach. If you're feeling hungry but the sensation is coming from your mouth, that's not genuine hunger. That's just because you're a bit bored or you want the sensation of eating. So look, and that's quite, getting back in touch with those signaling messages is really helpful. And also trying to move your drinks away from your meals. So you shouldn't be having lots and lots of fluids when you're eating, because all that does is that dilutes your stomach acid, and it means that your stomach is a less acidic environment, so you're less able to properly break down your food and digest the nutrients in it. So if you're moving your drinks away from your meals, and then that naturally means that you're going to be having your glasses of water or your herbal teas in those in-between times, and those drinks will help you to feel fuller and help you to postpone eating by another half an hour or another hour. So that's another.
So what kind of drinks did you recommend? I've got some of this Clipper, nice organic green tea here. Is that something that you'd kind of approve of?
Yes, definitely. And it's interesting, isn't it, that you pulled out that Clipper brand. And what I really like about Clipper is that not only is it organic, but there's no extra packaging. The tea bags are not individually wrapped. You know, they're non-chlorine bleached and they're completely biodegradable. So by buying Clipper over and above other herbal brands, you're supporting the environment and you're supporting a company that really is behaving well. I mean, the nice thing about green tea is very, very high in antioxidants, and antioxidants are naturally occurring chemicals which go round and they neutralize free radicals, and free radicals are very, very damaging molecules that attack the cells and the organelles within the cells of the body, and free radicals accelerate the aging process. They worsen chronic disease, so they make you more likely to get cancer, arthritis, chronic pain, migraines, you know, you name it, across the board. And what free radicals do is they put a stop, they put an end to that free radical damage. And so by having green tea, I mean, there's so many studies that have shown that if you're drinking 4 or cups of green tea a day, your chances of getting cancer are massively reduced. Now, lots of people don't like green tea enough to be drinking it that much, but even if you're having 1 or 2 cups of green tea a day, and then you're getting lots of other antioxidants from the fruits and vegetables in your diet, then overall your antioxidant intake is going up, and you're going to be reducing the amount of destructive free radical damage and accelerated aging going on in your body. So green tea is always a good thing.
We like the sound of that. And if people haven't really heard or don't really know much about the sort of the tincture that I mentioned earlier, I think whenever I mention herbalism to people, I think because of its presence on the high street, people quite often say, oh, is she a Chinese herbalist? What's the difference? Why would somebody take a tincture? What kind of things can you offer support and help with? Do you want to sort of let us know about that?
So I'm trained in Western herbal medicine, and all the different countries around the world have their own herbal traditions because it is the original medicine. So you've got the North American tradition, you've got the Native American tradition, Chinese herbal medicine, Ayurvedic medicine from India, and there is big overlaps between those different approaches. I mean, in Western herbal medicine, we use lots of Chinese herbs. We use ginseng, we use ginger, we use Schizandra. But the Western medical herbalists have done a 3 or 4 year degree level training, and the difference is that they are trained in the same orthodox diagnostic skills as a GP is. So we are trained to, take blood pressure, listen to the heart, be able to interpret medical tests, understand, which is really important, drug-herb interactions, and to be able to prescribe safely. Chinese herbal medicine is a very, very different way of looking at the body, and Chinese herbalists tend to prescribe a lot of powders and loose herbs, which are made up into strong boiled decoctions, and patients have to drink those, which is actually much harder work on the part of the patient because generally they taste pretty horrible. Whereas Western herbalists tend to use tinctures, so they're the concentrated liquid extracts of herbs. So I've just got a few bottles behind me there. I've got 135 different herbs prepared in tincture form, and then when a patient comes to see me, I might put 4 or 5 herbs together into one bottle so that they've just got one medicine to take, but it's really tackling the problem from several different angles, like in your detox mix.
I was going to say, what delights do I have in store for me for the next 2 weeks? So Burdock is the first one that you've listed here. So what's Burdock? What made you put that in?
So burdock is a traditional British herb, burdock root. People talk about burdock and dandelion drinks, which was the original kind of detox drink that the poor people would drink in the spring. So burdock root is a powerful bitter herb that stimulates liver function, kicks the liver into gear, helps it to do that detoxifying work, and also helps to produce more bile, which then travels down into the digestive system and helps to get your digestive system moving if it's a bit sluggish. So it's a real blood cleansing herb. It's traditionally used for skin conditions, eczema and psoriasis, and anywhere where there's toxicity in the bodies.
Sounds good. And then it's also got you mentioned dandelion already, so we've got that in there as well. And then nettle.
So nettle leaf is a real gentle cleanser that's working more on the kidneys. Okay. And nettle is actually a really lovely tonic herb, and I'd recommend nettle herbal tea. Or it's got to be organic nettle, because nettle really draws up from the soil anything that's there. So if it's grown in a polluted area, nettle will be high in pollutants. So you must buy organic tincture or organic nettle tea. Yeah, very gently cleansing, very rich in minerals, supports kidney function, again good for the skin and good for arthritic conditions.
And if somebody, they're not so much at the minute because the weather's rubbish, but if somebody lived somewhere where there were nettles that they could go and pick outdoors, do you recommend that? Is it the same? Does it need to be dried?
Yeah, definitely. So if you've got somewhere where they're clean, then I would pick nettles, wearing gloves obviously. The younger nettles taste much nicer, they're less bitter. It's a bit like rocket. If you get young rocket, it's not as strong as older rocket. And then nettles are traditionally added to soups and stews, so I would add them to any vegetable soup that you're making. You can even make a pure nettle soup if you've got enough nettle leaves. Nettle and potato is quite nice. It's quite nice.
Sure, I agree with you on that one. Okay.
But you don't want to cook it for too long, because if you cook it for too long, you're going to lose all the goodness. You just want to just put it in the last 5 or 10 minutes of cooking, so that you don't destroy all the vitamins in there.
Okay, and there's fennel in this mix, which I do like a bit of fennel. I like it raw in salad, and I quite like a braised fennel, but obviously this is fennel tincture, so it's going to be stronger in its capabilities, I'm sure, than just eating fennel alone. So yeah.
So it's a lovely digestive herb, fennel. So it's a warming aromatic herb, and any of those herbs with a high essential oil content will help to stimulate the digestive system. So fennel is very specific for wind and bloating and indigestion, and just to get your digestive enzymes working. And so the part of the reason I put it into that detox mix is because you've got a lot of really potent, bitter, strong liver herbs, and they need to be balanced out, and that fennel does that balancing and makes it just a bit softer on your system, and it's going to improve your digestion at the same time.
And then we've also got licorice and ginger.
So licorice is a really nice adrenal tonic. So licorice ticks lots and lots of boxes, and licorice in Chinese medicine is put into nearly every prescription. So if you're very burnt out, you know, whether you're burnt out physically or whether you're emotionally quite exhausted and drained, as lots of people are at the end of the Christmas series, at the end of this COVID year, then licorice will help you to produce the appropriate amounts of your stress hormones. So it's a nice building tonic herb. It also puts a soothing coating all over the digestive system, and it's an expectorant, so it's really helpful for coughs and the respiratory system as well. And it does improve liver function too, and it's very, very mildly estrogenic, so it's a real balancing supportive herb for.
I quite like it when you put it in a mix, because it also tastes quite nice. I have got a slightly sweet tooth, and I know that when I've had like kind of cold mixes or things like that from you in the past, and I think you put it in stuff when it's like throat and chest. You quite often put licorice in, is that right? And
Yes, definitely, because it's such a brilliant expectorant. And the thing about licorice is it tastes sweet, but it has no sugar in it. It contains this chemical called glyceric acid that's 300 times sweeter than sugar, but it doesn't have any of the calories, and it doesn't spike your insulin or unbalance your blood sugar levels. So don't be put off by that sweet taste. It's perfectly safe.
It's safely sweet. That's good. And then the ginger. So I think lots of people know kind of warming, don't they, and kind of good for kind of cleansing.
Ginger's an antiviral herb, so very appropriate in these COVID times. It's an excellent circulatory tonic, and when you're talking about detoxification, you're not just talking about the detox organs, you're talking about improving whole body well-being and getting the blood. Ginger is very specific for the periphery circulation, so getting the blood out to your fingers and your toes, and the more you can get the blood moving around the body, the more you're improving oxygen and nutrient delivery to the cells and tissues, and the more you're speeding up the removal of waste products, getting them back into the central circulation so that they can be cleared out through those detox systems. So it's always a good idea to have some ginger in there.
Oh, and then the last one listed, I don't know if I can pronounce it. It's SCH.
Schizandra.
Schizandra, yeah.
So Schizandra berry is a very tart berry, and there's been a lot of double-blind, really well-designed clinical trials showing that it improves concentration, memory, and mental sharpness. Just what you need, Emma.
I'm going to be rocketing 2021 with all these herbs. And I know one of the things we sort of talked about when you were sort of obviously having my chat to prepare the detox mix was it came up about milk thistle, which I think if people have looked into detoxing and using herbs to support, they might have heard of that before. Do you want to talk about milk thistle at all?
So the only reason I didn't put milk thistle into your mix is because I know that you're taking it separately in a tablet form. I mean, milk thistle is a really perhaps the best well-researched liver herb. There's been excellent results with things like hepatitis, which doesn't respond very well to orthodox medical treatment. So milk thistle stops liver cell death and promotes liver cell regeneration, and the really famous trials were done on mice who were given the death cap mushroom, which kills by liver poisoning, and obviously the control mice all died. But when mice are given milk thistle before the death cap mushroom, they actually all survive, and that's because the milk thistle has such an amazing protective effect on the liver. What's really, really important with milk thistle is quality.
Okay.
If you're buying a tincture, it needs to be over 60% alcohol, otherwise it's not going to be effective. If you're buying tinctures or tablets, it needs to be milk thistle seed. A lot of the cheaper products use a leaf or use a stem. Completely ineffective, hasn't got any active ingredients in it. So either buy milk thistle off a reputable herbalist, or if you're buying something over the internet, look for a standardized extract that's got a guaranteed silymarin content, because silymarin is one of the key active ingredients. Because if it hasn't got that in it, then you're wasting your money. And the worst thing I don't want anyone taking any herbal products that are ineffective.
And if somebody sort of starts to take, so let's say, I mean, I talked there briefly about the fact that in the past you've given me some support mixes when I've come down with viral infections, such as coughs and colds. And obviously at the minute, people are very worried with the COVID virus coming around. How does it work in terms of supporting the body? I think most of us are familiar with the kind of products that you can get over the counter if you're suffering with something that gives you symptoms of coughing, for example. But the way that herbs work are different from, they're not just suppressing, are they? So if you go out and buy a standard cough mix, what it's doing is just stopping you coughing. Whereas the kind of tinctures that you might prepare if somebody's unwell with a seasonal illness would be very different in the way that they work with the body.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, lots of people are doing the basic things, which is taking a vitamin D supplement, taking a vitamin C supplement. Throughout this whole year, I've been making up preventative mixes so that if people are unfortunate enough to catch the COVID infection, it helps their body to be in a more robust place so that infection may be much milder, and also mixes for people to take if they've actually got coronavirus. So you've got different herbal medicines. I mean, echinacea, for instance, echinacea purpurea, and it's the root that you want, not other parts of the plant. What that does is that enhances the ability of your own immune system to fight off any infection, whether it's viral, bacterial or fungal. So you've got herbs which actually boost your own immune system, and then you've got herbs which have specific antiviral activity. So that would be things like ginger, elderflower, elderberry, astragalus, and so on. And then you've got herbs which will help with specific symptoms which may come up as a result of coronavirus. So herbs which are going to help act as bronchodilators to open up the airways, expectorants to get catarrh and mucus off the lungs, things to improve the circulation so that your breathing is a bit easier. So generally, when I'm prescribing any herbal medicines to a patient, whether it's a preventative or a treatment strategy for coronavirus, I would put between 4 and 6 herbs in the one bottle, so that you're really tackling it from all angles. You're building up the immune system, but you're also putting in some specific antiviral and also some antibacterials as well, because so often people catch a viral infection like COVID or like a bad cold, and they then get a secondary bacterial infection on top. And that's what you hear of so often, is people get coronavirus and then they get a bacterial infection, and then they do end up having to take antibiotics from their GP because they've got 2 things going on at once. So the herbal medicines are really, really helpful for improving immune system function and directly tackling infections.
Wonderful. Well, I'm going to put a link to your website at the end of this. Really appreciate, not only my mix, so I will report back on how I'm feeling in 2 weeks' time.
You need to do the diet.
Yeah, okay, the pressure's on. Watch this space. But yes, I will be addressing eating and drinking in a healthy way to start the new year. And thanks very much for the time to do this little recording.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.